Here we go.
Who's voting Democrat?
Probably about 80 million people.
Right.
Man, get the fuck out. Ain't nobody voting for Kamala Harris.
Watch.
What?
Right.
By the way, I don't know.
It's
You're
been so
tripping.
funny to
Alright.
see everybody jump on the Kamala train immediately. Like, it was unanimously accepted that she was kind of boring, weird, and goofy for fucking, the last 4 years? Maybe even before that. She got lobotomized by Tulsi Gabbard in the debate. Everybody said the
one bad
exact
bar,
thing.
one bad bar.
Like, there's a million different things. Everybody was talking about her actual record, the fact that she's keeping these people in jail with the drug.
Not true, though.
But whatever, that was still the conversation.
That was the narrative. I got
The
you.
narrative,
So
like,
mad.
and then as second she becomes the nominee, the everything was forgotten, immediate amnesia. You always talk about how like Republicans get in line. Democrats get in line, bro.
But that-
Just, yes. So
But-
who?
Oh man, he nailed it. Andrew Schultz, beautiful. Ain't nobody vote for Kamala. I love that. Did you see how mad Charlamagne was getting? He was on the pod today with Kamala doing this interview, and oh my gosh, what a softball. They were like, Charlamagne's going to ask her hard questions. What a joke. Anyways, what's up, guys? How you doing tonight? We got a big show for you. Gonna have fun. This I got my buddy Eric coming in tonight. He'll be here really soon, and he's gonna do the show with me tonight. So you guys are not gonna be just stuck with me. We actually have another person out there who works a real job, talks to real Americans, and has some great insights on everything. So as we break it down, we're going to talk today about Trump's record he's setting in the betting markets and the polls right now for himself, how he is just crushing it, and then elections fraud stuff, what we're looking for, what's going on in Georgia and early voting and other places. And from there, we're going to also go over Trump's Bloomberg interview, which, oh my God, if you didn't see that interview, oh man, one of the best interviews Trump's ever done. He smoked this guy. It was fantastic. It was beautiful. And then some other stuff as well. So we're going to get to it. And first, let me say hey to everybody real quick. Who is number uno tonight? Vince, number one on the YouTube chat. By the way, if you guys are watching on Rumble, I can see your chat. Sometimes Rumble gets a little weird. And if you're on X, unfortunately, it just posts as a comment. So if you really want to chat, jump in the chat on YouTube. That is the best place to see the live chat. Darren is number two. Scott Volkovich, BM Pro, Big Sweet, Agent Orange, what's up? Vinman, Pet Shigoya, Oscar Dardaddy, Frank Anastasio, Kim Wiley, Candace Morrison, what's going on? Haven't seen you as much lately, Candace. Good to see you. Eric B. Conta, Mario, what's up, brother? Primo, bro, Grace, Randy Atwell, Kathy, Michael Cantero, MM. What's up, Trump, with the energy? Yeah, he does. He's coming to Concord, my town, on Monday. I'm trying to go to his rally on Monday. I might live stream from there a little bit. That'd be fun. The one, what to do? Tomorrow's the Kamala Brett Bear Fox interview. I know, Candace. We're gonna have some fun with that one. Richie Rich, what's up? Steve Bernard, Thomas Dubois, good to see you, friend. How you feeling, bud? Hope you're doing better. Vince, Eric, the Steelers fan. It's terrible fans. Oh, ouch! Shots fired. Shots fired. Well, you know what? Let me bring Eric is here, so let me go ahead and bring him in so he can say what's up before we start jumping into everything. So. What's up, my friend?
I don't appreciate that, Vince. That ain't right.
That Steelers hat is not vibing on my show here.
Oh yeah, I have to give a counterbalance to your.
We're a red, white,
sanity,
and
over there
blue,
with
and
the
black.
Niners.
Oh my goodness! Look at this guy. Who's he think he is, folks? What am I doing bringing people in? You guys, you just always just want to see me. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Isn't that how it's supposed to be? So anyways, wear your bulletproof jacket. I love it. All right, guys, I want to start tonight, and Eric and I are going to talk through this in a minute here, but I'm going to show you guys some of the clips from Trump's Bloomberg interview because it was so fantastic before we get into the polling stuff, because I think it's important to see how he's closing so strong here. And Eric, did you get a chance to watch this today?
I did not. I will be watching along with everyone else.
Fair enough. So you guys check out this clip. It is it's very strong and it's very funny.
You said, President Trump, at the moment there is a thing called the Trump trade in the markets. Do you know what that is? The Trump trade is very simple. People are betting that your policies are going to drive up debt, they're going to drive up inflation, so they're going to drive up interest rates. Are the investors wrong?
Yeah, I had 4 years no inflation. But
that was when you had much.
I had 4 years. It's better than that. And Biden, who has no idea where the hell he is, okay? Biden went 2 years with no inflation because he inherited from me. And then they started spending money like drunken sailors. They spent so much money. It was so ridiculous, the money they were spending. They were spending on the Green New Scam. The Green New Deal, you know, it was conceived of by AOC +3. She never even studied the environment in college. She went to a nice college. She came out, she just said, the Green New Scam. She just named all these things.
But President Trump, the issue at the moment, the markets are looking at the fact you are making all these promises. Latest one was car loans. You're flooding the thing with giving giveaways.
But we're going to grow.
I was actually quite kind to you. I used 7 trillion. The upper estimate is 15 trillion. People like the Wall Street Journal, who's hardly a communist organization,
yeah, but you don't know.
They have criticized you on this as well. You are running up enormous debts.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong.
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about it.
You're trying to turn this into debate. There are business people.
But you're wrong. You've been wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this stuff. You've been wrong. Let me tell you about currency. You're going jumping a lot of.
Yeah.
You said President Trump.
See how flustered he got on there? You've been wrong about this your whole life. No, Mike, Eric, I get to do it to you now.
Sorry. I love that Green News scam. That's so good.
It's so good. He was so funny, and he was like, "I'm going to be on the Wall Street Journal tomorrow." But what I'm trying to show is like Trump's out there. This was over an hour interview, and he did it with obviously no notes. This guy it's a hostile guy. The environment loved him. The crowd loved him, which is important to recognize. They were hooting and hollering and cheering. But this guy is the editor-in-chief of Bloomberg. He was trying to gotcha Trump the whole time. And right in the middle of it, Trump's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You've always been wrong. And the crowd goes nuts. I loved it. But we don't see any energy like that on the other side, ever.
No, because Kamala doesn't know an hour worth of words.
Exactly. It's always having to lift her up, and you don't get good clips from her because she has no wit at all. It's such a stark contrast, and people are obviously, they have to see this. I can't.
Yeah.
When you watch the difference, it's filthy. It's like not even fair. It's like bringing a little kid to a grown-ups meeting. It's like when the little kid wants to play the board game with the grown-ups, and you're like, okay, we'll let you. Yeah. And y'all have to tone down a little bit and keep the energy down a little bit. You can't be fully grown-ups.
You have to watch what you say for them.
That's what it's like hosting Kamala.
Hey, can we ban Mario, by the way?
You're still bitter over that loss? That was rough.
Should have won.
Mario, you can't really talk to anybody though after what happened to you guys on Sunday.
That's true.
Keep it quiet. That
pretty bad.
The Lions did to you guys should not have been aired on public television.
On Jerry's birthday, nonetheless.
If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Vidman says, is there any pics or vids of Kamala in the court as first or second chair? Great question. I don't know at all, Vin. I do know Harmeet Dillon, the Republican lawyer in California. She just did an awesome 2-hour interview with Tucker Carlson. And she said that in Kamala's term before coming over to San Francisco, she'd only ever tried 8 cases, which is extremely low. So I don't know how often she actually was prosecutor in these cases, or if she was always just plea bargaining, whatever, cutting deals, going after people. not doing the courts. I have no idea. So Frank Zara says, who's your QB, Eric? Wilson or Fields?
I'd like to try out Wilson. There was a series on Sunday when Fields overthrew 3 people who were wide open. So I'm kind of not too excited about that.
Russell Wilson is done. He's just done.
You don't know that.
I do know it. I watched him on the Broncos. Mad Max says, I truly think Kamala 40% should be lower by law and rules. Do we really have 40% complete crazy people in this country? You know, that's a great question about whatever Kamala is going to get on the vote. I don't actually think 40% of people are crazy or stupid, but there are obviously going to be 35 to 40% of people who vote Kamala, and then they're going to get it pumped up. They'll get those numbers pumped up, you know, however that happens, you guys decide, but it won't be the people voting. I can say that. But I think I think what happens is a lot of people are just not, they're not educated, and they've been raised Democrat. Maybe back when Democrats were cool, their dad's was a Kennedy voter, and then his kids never paid attention. And so they were Clinton voters, and they were still okay with what happened with Clinton. And then they got Obama, and they felt great about that at first. And then they just stopped paying attention. And this generational thing passes down. And now they're just on TikTok all day, and they're like, we'll vote Kamala. You know, I honestly think that's probably a good 20% of people, which means 70% of people who vote Kamala. That I do. Because I know people that are smart and good people in general, but they don't pay attention. I don't know. What, in your experience, you travel a lot, so you talk to a lot of people. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, throughout the country, I think there's a lot of Trump support, whether it's out in boat parades or just privately, you know, in people's personal lives. But I think for like the Kamala voters, I think people kind of learn politics at some point and find out where they stand, and they kind of calcify there. And, you know, at some point you just got to go off, work your job, and live your life. And if you don't keep like updating or keep informed of what's going on, then you're going to think that the old Reagan Democrats are voting for Kamala. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, if people aren't like keeping track of the craziness that's going on in our schools and universities, and a lot of the crazy stuff that they push, then you just think it's the good old Democrat Party, when you don't realize they don't really hold your values anymore.
100%. Yeah, I feel like the worst that I encounter, the worst people, and actually the dumbest, even though they don't sound the dumbest when they speak at first until you really listen. It's the highly educated people who've been through multiple degrees, and you know, it's like, doesn't mean their IQ is high, because IQ has to do with problem solving. So it doesn't mean their IQ is high, although it could be. But they've lost the idea to critical think because they've been so indoctrinated. And they know how to sound smart. They know the words to say. They know how to present a word salad that sounds smart until you actually think about it, what they just said.
Sounds familiar.
To me, yeah. To me, those are the words. But Kamala doesn't sound smart. You know,
No,
it's more like Obama. Obama sounds smart most of the time when he speaks, but then he says nothing. And there's a bunch of Obamas out there running around, and those to me are the worst. They're like 25% of people who will vote for Kamala, but they're the loudest. They're the most in your face. They're the most annoying. And you're just like, are you that stupid after everything you've learned? But they are. They've just been trained to be that stupid. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a loud minority, but the thing that like I don't like is they think they're better than everyone else.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what makes them so annoying. And that's why people are rebelling against them, by the way. That's what's so fun about the MAGA movement that the Democrats still haven't figured out. It's that the more you treat us like we're dumb, the more you talk down to the people, the more we show up, and the more we're going to ruin what you guys want with the country by voting for Trump and actually getting it back to the people. So A couple of questions here. Let's see real quick. Sliver says, what happened to DJT today? It was just a short attack, man. I think it's going to bounce back big soon. I really do.
Massive attack.
But it went up to 34 at one point, so you can't complain. We're still in a really good place. Wicked says, imagine Kamala winning and sitting Merrick Garland as a SCOTUS. I'm praying. I'm believing there's no way she wins. We're going to get the numbers in just a second. I'm going to show you stuff. Listen, with these numbers where we're at right now, it's impossible for Trump to lose unless they do the steal of all steals, but in which case we'll catch them and we will bust them up and we won't let them do it. That's where I'm at right now. I think there's literally no way Kamala Harris is president next year because I think we're going to either win it outright or we're going to win it through the courts and however we got to fight because it's going to be too obvious this time. That's what I believe. So thank God we don't have to think about Merrick Garland up there. Shogun asks, you're both sides early voting and vote on the day of election. Your thoughts? I used to be very torn on this, especially after 2020 when Trump really pushed voting on the day of the election. This year is interesting. He's really pushing voting early. I don't know why. But, Trump is my chosen leader. He's the guy I trust. He's earned my trust. And so it's not that I'm going to just do whatever he says to do. But when I don't know and he's leaning one way and encouraging one way, that's what I'm going to trust. So I actually plan on voting on Saturday here in North Carolina. So I'll be voting early. And so that's where I stand on it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with voting day of. I just think that maybe Trump knows or whoever knows that the voting early will be secure this time for whatever reason. That's kind of how I think about it. But what are you thinking about that, Eric?
Yeah, I'm planning on voting day of. I actually am. I may be too late in the game, but I want to look at being a poll watcher.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
I want to be more involved. But
I think you got to get that done quick, though.
I know I'm probably behind. I'm probably too late, but I'll see what I have to do.
We are 3 weeks till. Can you believe it?
The thing that you said a long time ago that's always stuck with me is, in 2020, Trump was talking about, they're going to try to steal and all this kind of stuff. But he hasn't really talked about any of that this time. And so, I kind of take my cues from not just what he's saying, but what he's not saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really not worried about it at all.
Okay. Yeah. I think, like I said, I see it one of two ways. Either it's so far ahead he wins outright night of, or they pull something so crazy that's so much worse than what we saw in 2020 that it's just unbelievably obvious and they can't hide it this time and the people reject it. And I trust in the American people. I've seen enough to believe the American people are going to get what they want this time. I really do. So I don't worry about, my worry is how much collateral damages are going to be in all what's happening. That's the only worry I have. It's not about who's going to be president anymore. So
I feel like in 2020, go back to 2020 and imagine if Trump had been called the winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like Antifa was just sitting there ready to be activated.
Oh yeah.
And, things calmed down a lot since then, but you never know what's going to happen. So I'm more, I'm very confident Trump's going to win it. I'm just more interested to see, okay, what's going to happen afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Candace writes, everybody should try and vote earlier by mail because I think may have a bunch of nonsense happening on day of. It's possible, Candace. That might be why Trump's saying something. I think it'll depend on the state. If anything happens there. And one of the reasons I think we could get an actual announcement day of is because I think we're going to win some states that they're not ready for us to win. And because Trump right now, I mean, if he pulls off a Virginia, a New Mexico, and any other states maybe run by red governors who will make sure that the election's at least fair, and Trump, even if it's a blue state or a very purple state, that's the kind of thing that they could not, that could prevent them from actually pulling off a steal. And so,
Well, why is he campaigning in California and New York?
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons I could think of, but there is, I think, especially New York, he thinks there's an outside puncher's chance. I don't think he believes
That's
there's
wild.
a chance in California, but he went to California, man, and he had 100,000 people there, and he got national attention. So he raised money, he got national exposure. It was still genius. His marketing skills are, as a marketer, I can say Trump's marketing skills are second to none.
There's a lot of red people in California.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think California actually is a red state. If it was fair, I really do.
Historically, it has been.
Yep. Until Jerry Brown came back, but you can actually trace it back to the mid 90s when it started changing. So I'm going to play this one more Trump, perfect timing on the California thing. Actually, I'm going to play one more clip from Trump at the Bloomberg thing, and then we're going to start going through some of the polling news and election news right now. So check this one out, guys. You'll like this one.
How about this? Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California.
Newsom.
He signed Newsom, Michael.
But do you think?
No, he corrected me. He corrected me. I said, that's the first time I've been corrected.
There are CEOs out here. If they said those sort of things about a rival CEO, they'd be sacked. Do you think it's
but
fine
they don't
for
have
a
to
president?
survive like me. They don't have to go through what I have to go through. There's never been a president that's been treated like me, so I have to fight my own way.
Well, you made a very good job of.
He signed a bill in California 2 days ago that you don't even have the right to ask a person for voter ID. And if you ask a person for voter ID, of course you have to show voter ID. The only reason you wouldn't do, because they want to cheat. The bill says you cannot, it's against the law for you to ask a person, may I please see your voter ID when he votes? What is our country coming to?
Do you hear that crowd is going nuts for him when he's teasing about Newsom, and like they're dying. It's so funny. He kills it. He absolutely slays it. And you got to see, so again, this was supposed to be hostile territory. You could tell the Bloomberg guy was getting frustrated. He just did not expect, I don't think he expected the crowd to go that way. And so it's just hilarious. But I pulled this up. I got to show everybody this real quick. This is after everything, and just look. I mean, they're applauding him after it. It's just, he got a standing ovation afterwards, which that's absolutely massive. I mean, it's very exciting. And that's the business people in New York. You're thinking CEOs, big Fortune 500 company representatives, and yet he's the people's president now. And I saw that interview today. He crushed it. You guys got to watch the rest of the interview. I mean, I just showed you 2.5 minutes. He's on point the entire time. He talks about tariffs. It was all economics. And then they tried to bring up January 6th at one point, and the crowd booed the moderator or the guy asking the questions. It was fantastic. And so I was so excited to see it. I think it was top 5 interviews I've ever seen Trump give. So you guys got to check that out. But anyways, let's keep moving through here, because there is definitely a lot to cover. Vince says it's about the down ticket in New York and California. That's true too. Good point, Vince. They're going to want to fill up more house seats. Absolutely, Vince. Good call. And then Ken Jones says, God bless President Trump. Amen to that. Roger, best case scenario, Kamala wins, has a Saul moment, discovers Jesus, and leads American revival. Listen, I'm not saying that wouldn't be a good thing, Roger, but that is not going to happen. These people, I'm sorry, that this is just a different time period. And I believe in the Saul conversion. I'm a biblical Christian believer, but if that happened, that'd be awesome. But the problem is she is still completely controlled by her entire party. And everybody who cries about Trump's first term, the only issues Trump had, by the way, he had the best first term of any president of my lifetime, and it's not even close. His first term was better than even Reagan's 2 terms, in my opinion. But his hands 2 times tied behind his back. It was all because he was surrounded by all people stabbing him in the back. The Rhino Republicans, the neocons, and the Democrats going after him the whole time. If Kamala even had a Saul moment, it wouldn't matter as far as what happened to the country, because that would happen to every single Democrat in that administration. There's just no way that's going to happen. Your bottle of Jaeger's empty. Let's see. Hero says Trump's campaign. Oh, I already read that one. So Grotto, you're not watching live. What I talked about earlier, they want people to vote early because they'll likely try something on voting day, shutting down voting stations. Dan Bongino. I know Bongino's been talking about that. Again, I've said this many times. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Most of the time, the worst things you expect don't happen. And I think that's absolutely possible with our election this time too. Again, think of how many things haven't happened that we thought would happen this year. We thought they might try to unleash another pandemic. Totally didn't happen. We thought they might start a bunch of riots again like 2020. That didn't happen. We thought they might actually get a good candidate who's scary, like a Michelle Obama. Didn't happen. They thought they might challenge Kamala at the convention and all these things. I mean, you could just go down the list of, we went back to the beginning of the year, all the things we thought might happen. Very few of them did. Now, they did try to kill Trump, didn't succeed. That happened. They tried to get, the monkeypox going. Didn't happen. People covered their butt cheeks and everybody was fine. But they tried stuff, but they couldn't get it off the ground. And I really do think that's because of X. I think Elon Musk and X, the ability to actually have a conversation, share real news, I think it saved us from a lot of stuff. Stuff we didn't even know. 100%. Absolutely. Mad Max asks, is Nancy Pelosi going to retire, come walking back and looking like Tales from the Crypt? You mean she does?
Sure, does.
That's what I was thinking too.
Too late.
Mario, is there a long-term plan where the Dems can hurt Trump outside of another attempt at his life? You want to take that one?
I'd say no, because look at everything they put him through. Like in his first term, he was trying to work with people, but I think he's just so pissed. He's going to come in scorched earth and completely clean out. So I don't think they're going to even have the opportunity to resist. I think he's going to release the Epstein list, and then it's like with what happened with Saddam Hussein. It's like we got him out of the hole, and then here people deal with him.
Oh yeah,
so it's going to be like that, where just
Absolutely.
like people are going to be so upset and outraged that these people aren't going to have. They're just going to be running for their lives.
Yeah, I think also, just like you said, I mean, we've had 9 years since 2015 when Trump came down the escalator. 9 years of the establishment hating him. 9 years of them trying to take him out on a personal level, on a career level, his wealth, his reputation, and then this year, his life. They tried everything they had. They dug up old tapes. They used everything from his past. There's been a lot of rumors out there about Trump the last 10 years. Stuff about, obviously, Epstein because he was on the plane a couple times. There was the rumors about some tapes from The Apprentice that were like, destroy him. But here's the thing. If any of that stuff was real, they would have used it by now.
Exactly.
And he's the only one out there saying, I'm going to release the Epstein list with no fear. And all the other people who are on that list are against him. I know some people who I like, good people who think that Trump is for sure one of them. And I'm like, are you retarded? Sorry, but it's just like, it's so obvious when so many people that are on that list, they're all against him. He's the only one where he's at. And like, he has no fear about it. You don't see any fear on him about it. So I'm just like, are you kidding me? With everything they've thrown at him, they don't think they'd use that? Come on. It's just ridiculous. So I really don't think, I don't think there's anything they can do other than kill him. And at this point, even if, God forbid, they pulled that off, I don't think it would change. I honestly, it would create a martyr moment where it'd probably actually accelerate the growth in our country of the MAGA movement, because he has built the infrastructure to keep it carrying on now. We have J.D. Vance, who's been a proven, brilliant leader. We have RFK, who would take up the mantle. Have you guys noticed the difference in RFK before, when he first started? You could tell he didn't really want to leave, but he felt he had to. He was like, I am continuing my campaign, but this is just because it's the best chance to get in there. And now he gets on his things. He's like, straight up, vote Trump. He's like, forget what I told you before. Vote Trump wherever you're at. We need the votes. Get us in there. He has gone all in because he came in and realized, oh, I believed a bunch of lies about these people. They're great. They're going to do, and even so, RFK will take up that mantle. Nicole Shanahan, who I mocked when RFK first took, who was because she was a total liberal in the past. She's amazing. I mean, she is incredible. I trust her, Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk. I mean, we have the all-star team of people who can change our country. And so even if they killed Trump, all it'll do is ignite the base even more so, the martyrdom, whatever, and we'll just get more done faster. And I don't want it to be the way, because I love Trump. I enjoy having him in my life. I don't want that to happen to our country, because it'll still be a tragedy. But sometimes that's what martyrdom does, and I think that in this case it would.
Yeah, I think he's insulated. He'll be fine. But yeah. Ace, I think that people are you drinking anything tonight? What's going on here?
No, I just have a little tea. That's all.
You're running dry? What is this?
I only bust out the alcohol on the weekends now and on special occasions like debates. So that's, but you guys
I've got a nice seasonal water.
There you go. See,
that I'm drinking. That's Oktoberfest water.
Yeah, there
which
you
is
go.
My favorite seasonal water.
I get that. I got some really good stuff for the election though, guys. So you better be ready. That's going to be a fun one. I plan on being like all night on here. Will Tampon Tim be removed as VP candidate due to pedo history? If that becomes substantiated, that story, and it really becomes something that the media starts running with, that if it becomes a big problem, they won't remove him. You cannot remove him with 3 weeks to go. It's impossible. Logistically, it's completely impossible. What it will do is it'll destroy their campaign. It'll destroy their campaign. They will lose so many voters who they probably won't jump Trump, but they'll just jump out. They just won't vote. And that'll kill their campaign. I think they could lose anywhere from 2 to 5% based on that. Cash Patel, can't wait to he's going to be good.
Brett thinks that Kamala's from Animal Farm.
Napoleon from Animal Farm.
Is that the pig?
I could see that. Yeah, that's the pig.
Okay. It's been a while.
Candace says, if and when he wins, I'm afraid they're going to try and not let him be seated over insurrection BS because of SCOTUS saying states couldn't do that, only Congress. They're going to try, but here's the thing. This is hilarious. This is Democrats are just the thing that Democrats keep doing that I love about them is every time they get power, they are so quick to do things, never thinking what will happen once they lose that power. But now they've given that to the next person. They did it with killing the filibuster for judges. They killed the filibuster. Harry Reid said, no more filibuster. We're going to push these judges through. And thank you, Harry Reid. That's how we got 3 Supreme Court justices with Trump. They always nuke themselves. Well, they nuked themselves with this too, because after Trump left, and Biden came in this time, they passed a law that said that the vice president now cannot not certify the election and send it back to the states. They passed that law. And so everybody was like, Trump wanted Pence to do. Well, now they passed a law that they can't do that. So Kamala is stuck. She has to certify. And that means if we have the House and Senate, which we will, it's a given. They can't stop them from getting in. Alan Krantz says, I think Kennedy cover-up, Epstein List, Diddy's List, MLK, and then Elon RFK Tulsi ripping the government corruption efficiently take place. Oh, yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good.
Mario's coming after you.
It's Spike Tea. Did I drink a lot during the 3 Niners losses? No comment. What about you on against the Lions, Mario?
What's the Cowboys record? They 3-3?
Are you on an IV right now? Yeah, the Cowboys are 3-3 also.
Oh, yeah.
But we never lost as bad as they lost.
That's gotta suck to be a 3-3 team.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's like.
Oh,
really.
Here we go. Well, you do know what it's like to not have a quarterback. That always ends well.
Apparently, we don't need one.
Oh, we'll see. It's early.
Poor
Is Mark
baby.
Cuban becoming Rosie O'Donnell? He's definitely looks like a lesbian. Grotto says, remember the Verizon phone outage from hacking? That's what Bongino thinks will happen. No phone service, no voting. Interesting. Listen, I don't know. Again, prepare for it, be ready, and then don't be surprised if it doesn't happen. That's how I'm looking at it. I won't be shocked either way. Again, so many things we predict just don't happen. Look at this Hurricane Milton that was supposed to be the biggest storm ever and destroy Florida. It didn't happen, thank God. You know,
Not a prayer against someone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, all right, I got a couple of things I'm going to go through here, guys, and we're going to pull this up. We have going through some of these stories today. So, speaking of the election officials in Waynesboro County, Virginia, filed a lawsuit. They will not certify the results of the 2024 election because the voting machines violate Virginia's constitution. This is a good thing, guys. They don't want to certify the voting machines. So Virginia, you got Youngkin up there for some paper ballots, and then you have them refusing to certify voting machines because they're not for the Constitution. I think Virginia is going to go to Trump. I do. Says they're asking for the city to allow observers and cameras to monitor, live stream, and record the counting of the votes with ballots scanned and made available as a public record. The elections board chairman says, I swore to uphold the state's constitution, says that ballots can't be counted in secret. This is awesome. And this is why I think if they completely, pull off a steal, quote unquote, over a couple days or late in the evening again, I don't think it holds up because there are people like this. By the way, let's just say it. This guy's a patriot. There are patriots like this watching all over the place. And we already have lawsuits filed ahead of time. I just don't see how they can pull it off this time. I really don't.
Why is this guy the only one saying that?
I don't know. Interesting, right? But
I feel like this is just going to delay the election results.
But this is 3 weeks away. We could see this happening over and over again. And I think one of the reasons it's being reported too is because it's in Virginia, which Virginia is like that huge wild card that isn't even considered a swing state, but I think is going to go red, which would just be crazy. Because if Virginia goes red, the election's over. It's over the second Virginia's announced. We know because there's no way Virginia goes red and Pennsylvania goes blue. It is same demographics or similar demographics except more blue. If Pennsylvania goes red, there's no way Wisconsin goes blue because, again, similar demographics, but Pennsylvania is bluer than Wisconsin and so on and so forth. So there's if you know how to read the states by the polling averages over the last few years and knowing the demographics, certain states, if they hit it, you just know that the other ones, there's no way they went the other way, not the way they're currently set up demographically. So this is pretty huge. And I think Virginia's going to go red, guys. I really do. So let's keep moving. This just made me laugh. Trump's going to be working at McDonald's in Pennsylvania this weekend. He's going to work the fry maker. And this is an AI picture, but the story is legit.
That's
and
hilarious.
I cannot wait for him to come out the next day and say, I've officially worked more at McDonald's than Kamala Harris ever has. As you know, that's exactly what he's going to say. It's so funny. I love this man. He makes me laugh. All right, let's keep going forward. Okay, so this from Seth Keshel, the best data analyst in elections there is, says, make sure you don't get gaslit. Georgia has almost no mail ballots compared to 2020. Turnout was trash in Fulton, DeKalb, and Clayton counties. This is the blue counties that we're waiting. Fulton, I believe, is Atlanta. But they're going to give Harris a good news cycle. So the reason he's saying this is because early voting numbers day one in Georgia, 250,000 ballots cast, which is massive, surpassing the record, almost over doubling it. But what they're not saying, so everybody's saying, because early ballots used to be very Democrat. The media is starting to run with this narrative, Georgia's going blue. In fact, I heard it on a podcast tonight. But what Keshel's saying is that, no, it's actually all the red counties where turnout is way up. So Republicans and people voting for Trump are coming out in droves, even on the very first day of early voting. So that's exciting. And guys, it's not early voting that is the bigger issue. It is the mail-in voting where they steal a lot of the ballots because they send them to addresses they can ballot harvest them, all that. So early voting, not the most secure, but it's far more secure than mail-in voting. So let's go Yankees. What, Mike? Get out of here. Paulion says that if Virginia goes red, Trump would only need Arizona. At that point, he wouldn't need Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania. Exactly. Because Virginia, I believe, is 19 electoral votes, I want to say. Anyways, pretty huge. Actually pretty huge. So, but again, let me go here again to the
polls that I've seen coming out of Pennsylvania have been very encouraging for us, and I don't think Kamala can win without Pennsylvania.
No, there's
I feel
they're
like
going to try to steal North Carolina. I'm telling you right now, they are going to try.
But that's not going to make up for Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is 19, North Carolina is 16. I think the big push for stealing is going to be North Carolina and Georgia. In which case, if she lost Pennsylvania, got Georgia and North Carolina, and then also got Michigan and Wisconsin, she could pull it off. But that's going to be very, very tough to do. Very tough. And then what I was talking about earlier, guys, check this out. This is where Trump is saying vote early. And Brang Medic writes, I'm not certain why, but Trump wants Georgians to vote immediately. Says Georgia in-person early voting open today, October 15th. If you have a ballot, return immediately. If not, go vote at the polls right now. So he's not only pushing people to vote early, he's got some, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? There's a real push in this, real sense of urgency to do so, which I find that really interesting.
Virginia's 13, by the way.
Virginia's only 13?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I thought it was more than.
It's funny that North Carolina's more.
Yeah, North Carolina is 15 million. I didn't think it was. I thought it was about the same. I did. So, Randy Lockfield says Philadelphia's a blue disaster. Robert Kapke says they're already cheating big time in Arizona. I've heard that, Robert, but I also heard, and this was on the Mark Halperin podcast, that they're close. The Kamala campaign is close to abandoning Arizona, pulling out of it because they're doing so poorly right now. So I don't know what to believe, but you know,
she's going to be pulling out of America here pretty soon.
We can only hope. All right, let me keep going on this. So Frank Luntz posted this from Nate Silver. Nate Silver now has it tied again. Even he can't ignore the current trends. I've told you guys with Nate, basically the only time he's worth paying attention to is when Trump pulls ahead, and that's because he is a left-wing hack who weights his polls to negate polls like Rasmussen, which is actually one of the better polls, but they consider it right-leaning. But he's got a poll within 50-50. And then Frank Luntz also hates Trump, another pollster, but he says he ought to say 50-50, but the trend lines tell a whole other story. And he's got red up, blue down. So they are freaking out. They are freaking out because even the liberal pollster analysis are starting to say, guys, this is looking bad. And remember, when Hillary got whooped in 2016 in the Electoral College, they were all saying Trump was way ahead, or Trump was way back the whole time. I remember one of my favorite things that happened in that entire election was I was listening to the Pod Save America podcast, which is this leftist podcast that I just would listen to kind of get a grip on what they were thinking. And they had a guy come on and he said, 100% Hillary's going to win. He's one of her campaign. And they were like, thank you for making us feel better. We were getting a little nervous. He was like, it's 100%. It's in the bag. And then one of the best moments was listening to them the night he won. And they were all just crying. So very, very funny stuff. Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen says, in my opinion, this may have moved beyond what the polling shows or will soon. Just a gut feeling. Is the market pricing in what the rest of October looks like? And here is where Trump is now at a record. He's never been at this point in 2020, 2016 ever, even against Biden. 58% in the betting markets versus 41.7. That, my friends, is 16.5 points ahead. That's massive. And that's even with a bunch of liberal dark money going into these polls in this to influence it. So the money is all betting on Trump. And I'm sorry, with what we've seen the last few years, if the money is going in on Trump this huge, he can't lose. I'm just telling you, everybody sees too much. Everybody sees too much. It's just like when I started this live with that video of Andrew Schultz saying, get the F out of here. Nobody's voting for Kamala. And he's mocking Charlamagne, which was just too stinking funny. Made me laugh. So, but it's just, it's going very well right now. So really all there is what are they going to pull? That's all. To me, that's all there is left. The election itself, from the fair voting standpoint, is over at this point. It's clear he's going to win. This is Obama 08 numbers. This is Reagan 84 numbers, where Trump is once, if you remove the fraud, you remove the fake polls, all that. But so the trend is in that direction. So all there's left is what are they going to pull? That's how I see it right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, everything so far this month has gone against Kamala. So I feel like they would have countered by now if they had something, but it just seems to be going all the wrong direction.
Yeah. Like, what do they have?
Like, to cover over this weird news. Yeah. To cover over, the wall stuff and different things that are starting to pop up. Yeah. And basically her interviews, which is bad news in itself. They, usually they throw something out there to cover over reality, but they're not throwing anything because I don't think they have anything to throw.
I'm like, really? Just Kamala going on Fox News is going to win it for him?
You're just going to let that happen? Really?
It's unreal. They're floundering. And it's funny because when I've been listening to a lot of shows and they're interviewing Democratic strategists and campaign people, and these are like a lot of shows that are trying to get both sides of the story, and you can tell they're trying not to freak out, but they're losing they don't have much to say, and you always know you got less to say when you're way behind. because you're just like, we don't have any answers. So it's just very dull from them, and they're liberals, so they're good at lying. But anyways, it's very interesting. It is very different than what I saw in 2016 and 2020. In 2016, they were so sure Hillary was going to win. It was done deal. And then they were all shocked. 2020, they were more nervous, but Biden was so far ahead in the polls and everything, they never were scared. And they saw, I think they could see all the laws being changed and stuff for COVID that were enabling them to cheat more. So they were a little nervous because Trump had won once before, but they were also like, we're good. This time, the numbers are so in his favor. The trends are so in his favor. It's wild, but they don't know what it's like to kind of admit they're going to lose, or at least nobody ever admits they're going to lose, but admit that they're struggling. They don't even know what that's like to do.
And they wouldn't be freaking out if they thought they could cheat their way across the line.
Exactly. That's what I feel like too.
So there's a lot of signs that give me a lot of hope. And is
Yes.
Rachel Maddow going to be streaming on election night? Because I would love to see her cry.
Well, I don't know if it'll be her, but they'll have an MSNBC panel, and I bet she'll be on it. That's what they'll do on election night. Each station will have their all-star team of panel, and it'll all be.
You got to bounce back and forth between these because it's going to be so satisfying.
Yeah, it really will. We got Cenk Uygur out there saying we're losing. He was out there, Young Turks guy. He actually was calling it out. I mean, so there's a lot of signs of panic for sure. Mad Max says North Carolina governor not going to play the cheating game. I don't know. Cooper's a Dem, man. He's a lefty. If he can do it, but the legislature is very Republican. So Kopke says 218,000 illegals registered to vote a few weeks ago. Adrian Fuentes says it's too late to do anything. Worry about after the election. That's in Arizona. Yeah, I know they're trying to do something with that. There's a lot of lawsuits on it. Hopefully the state Supreme Court throws that out. Camel toe blows, just ask Willie Brown. Aaron Foxhunter says if Kamala wins, it's 110% rigged at that point. No way Trump loses. I agree. I don't think American people accept it this time. I really don't. I think in 2020, because of COVID, the lockdowns, and because of the shock, people didn't know what to think. Because there's few people like me out there who are election nerds who are like, well, that was stolen. Everybody else was just kind of like, what? And it took time for the narrative to build up. And by the time that most Americans kind of realized, oh, yeah, we were duped about 2020, it was too late. This is way different. Everybody's watching this election. There's not one Trump supporter, not one, who is not going to be watching this election closely. Even the ones who say, he lost. And they'll say it wasn't stolen, but they'll say it was rigged by the election law changes, but they don't think it was necessarily illegal. They just think that it was a conspiracy brought together that was technically legal, but wrong, holding off the laptop story, all that. Yeah. So, but because of that, even they're going to be watching very carefully. And I think when you have 100% of 80, 90, 100 million people, adults in America being like, no effing way you pulled that off, Kamala. You can't come into office. You won't be able to pull it off. It only took 30% of Americans to fight the Revolutionary War. The other 70% wanted to be with Britain, and we see how that worked out. So Candace says, still wonder what big thing Hillary seemed to be worried about coming this month. Listen, we got a plagiarism story already, and we still got 3 weeks to go. There's more coming. I guarantee you. The wall saying we're guaranteed more stuff. Yep. Mad Max Blue Party already planning their impeachment circus for Trump, but they won't be able to because they're not going to have Congress. That's the big difference. And the Republican Party has been mostly remade now for MAGA. So the Republicans aren't going to get out of line this time. So that's what's exciting. They're talking about Arizona. guys. You see Mika Brzezinski's reaction? My favorite last time was the Young Turks because they were freaking out. And I think it was Andrea Kramer who cried. She started crying on CNN. They're like, I just don't know where my country could go this far.
I want to see the criers for sure.
Oh, me too. I'm so excited about it. Hero at Large with a $10 donation. Thank you, Hero. He says, awesome show. Really appreciate that, Hero. Thank you. Please.
I'm not ruining your show, apparently.
Yeah, no, not too much. Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Just lots of election coverage here going through everything. And we do our best to answer you guys' questions too. Hogan says, are teams too corrupt to simply allow them to win? That is 100% true. Mario, all the fake news will make it look closer on election night as long as possible. They will. They will hold out until they cannot go any longer. That's what's going to happen. But I definitely think they can pull it off. I think especially we get a Virginia. See, this is where the media will start calling it. The media will start calling it if it becomes to the point where they know it's too far ahead to be brought back. And they'll know that if something like Virginia goes red. They'll know that if Pennsylvania is 2 million votes up or 900,000 votes up. Last time it was up 400,000. And you saw what it took. They got it, but it took a lot of work and they had a lot of cover, a lot more going for them last time. That's not happening this time. The election's going to be much further apart. And then you have places like North Carolina where they were kind of holding out. They didn't call it for 3 days. Well, now North Carolina has voter ID. That makes it much tougher to pull off those fake votes. Georgia passed some laws. Arizona made it a little bit tougher. So there's just a lot going on that not that they can't still try and that they won't maybe be able to get some states off. But if we win states they don't expect us to win that are so far ahead, they'll start calling it. They will. And Fox Hunter says that in 2020, your wife, you went to bed. Trump was ahead 5 of the 6 major swing states. And we were like, yeah, he's reelected. Woke up at 6 a.m. Pacific. By miraculously gained millions of votes. Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
I remember.
We're all there.
Brett says, my cat's still waiting for a ballot. I'm sure the left registered her vote. I'm sure she voted last election. He said. Oh, man. Sliver, what's the crying for? Is that the Mika's face? Vince says, Alex Jones reporting that will not certify Trump after win. Listen, Alex has probably got some – he's probably going off that Jamie Raskin clip and maybe some other things he's heard. But just because he's predicting they won't certify does not mean they won't. It doesn't mean they won't be forced to. Alex is an entertainer. Alex is right about a lot of stuff. He has great sources. But Alex Jones cannot predict the future in 4 months, especially when we have no idea how this is going to play out. And there's a lot of stuff Alex predicts that doesn't end up happening, and he's able to come out and say, like, oh, it's prevented because of this or this, you know. Yeah, when Trump went up there this time, we got them to do this, and then, oh, my God, we were praying to God, and God came down. And that's what happened with that. Oh, God. How does Alex talk like that? My voice almost died in 3 seconds. I love Alex Jones. I love him. He's fantastic. But he definitely he reports everything he hears, and it doesn't always play out. Okay. Man, Alex Jones' voice is it's rough.
He got you, man.
It is, yeah. I know that Vin says that stock drug up 1,400% today. That was crazy. I know. Are the 49ers liberals? Well, I know Bosa's a Trump guy. Purdy's a born-again Christian. Kittle is a Trump guy. I think we're a pretty conservative group, honestly. I really do. Capkey, get out of here. How dare you? Talking about my boys. All right. A couple more things I want to go over. This is really interesting. We have this new poll in Michigan has Trump up. This is big data poll too. This is one of my favorite polls. Has Trump up 3.5 in Michigan. And we'll actually do the 3.7 because it really will be the leaners. That's how it'll vote. This tells me that Michigan is going to be a lock for Trump as well. Hillary Clinton was up 11 in Michigan before the election. 11. That's nuts. I just don't know how they pull that off. That's a big flippin' lead. That's a big flippin' lead for him right now. And then this really encouraged me here. I want to share this. The Seth Keshel's reporting, in case you were worried about hurricane-struck areas in Georgia, many of them produced record-breaking early vote totals today. So that's excellent news. It means people who have been messed up because of the hurricanes and everything, they're figuring out how to vote. So that's really good news, especially for North Carolina. And I told you guys, I think that'll be happening. That it won't have affected us. It was too early to ruin it. And so I think this is just really, really good news. We have the latest in Ohio. Trump is up 11. That's insane. That if Ohio goes anywhere between 11 and 15, there's no way Pennsylvania doesn't go for Trump at least 5. And that, my friends, is too big to rig. Also in the Ohio poll, the Senator Moreno, he is now pulling ahead of Brown. So we're going to get Senate also up to probably 54 to 55 seats. It's looking more and more. Guys, this is awesome. There's so much good stuff going on with these polls and everything. Newsweek, not Newsmax. This is Newsweek. Just came out with a story saying recent polling has shifted more favorably for Trump, raising the possibility of a landslide victory for the former president. That's nuts. Do you think they're trying to get ahead of something? Guys, that is crazy. This is the actual story, too. It's a link to the story. Newsweek's out there promoting a possible landslide. I mean, guys, that's called media seeding. I showed you guys a bunch of media headlines last night of panic. Well, now they're seeding the narrative to prepare people for what might be coming. And again, I think we could have a really good night. There's no reason, if the media thought, for a couple things, you don't put a story out like this if you think you're going to still be able to pull it off, if you're going to be able to rig it. You do not do it, because a story like this will Kamala voters, those who just don't want to really vote, they will say to themselves, what's the point? Trump's going to win anyways. And they won't show up. It's going to cost them votes. The media does not turn on somebody until they are absolutely sure. The best thing the media can do is keep telling everybody it's close and but Kamala has the edge. That is the way you turn out as many voters as possible. This gets voters to stay home, except for Trump people who want to jump in on the win, because they're not going to get any Trump voters to stay home. Trump voters are making sure we overwhelm the polls this year, and they know that. They know that. Trump right here. Donald Trump's team getting increasingly confident they will win the election. The race is over. This is per Mark Halperin. Mark Halperin is one of the most connected guys in Washington, D.C. He called the Biden story, told us all how it was going down before the media did, before Biden even put his pen to paper and said and signed, or we all know he didn't sign that paper, but when he got out, that was Mark Halperin reported this. He is now reporting Donald Trump's team getting increasingly confident that will win the election and the race is over. They believe Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina are locks. And then they only need one more. And they're up in Wisconsin. This is massive. This is massive. And again, we don't want to get cocky. We all got to show up. We have got, not one person here has the excuse to not vote just because they think it's safe. Everybody vote. But if we show up, guys, we're going to pull this one off. I feel so good about this. It's unreal. And yeah, I don't know. Eric, what are you thinking?
Man, it's such good news. I think he's going to get over 300 electoral votes.
Yeah.
And
he got 304 against Clinton.
It could be even higher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, Pennsylvania is trending very red. If he gets Michigan, if he gets Wisconsin, I
Yeah.
think North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada, he's going to sweep the swing states. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah. I think he gets Nevada.
Arizona is
and
a lock almost.
they're not even counting Virginia as a swing state, and I think he's going to get it.
That would be nuts.
The question is not. The question is not would Trump win this election if everything's legit. It's how far are they going to go? That's the question. Will they go far enough to? Well, let me put it this way: will they just try, and then they see it's out of range and say, "Okay, we're done. We cannot do this. We're going to try to fight later." Is that going to be their play? Or are they going to say, we are all in, we cannot give this, and they go so egregious and so obvious that they turn the entire country against them, or at least enough people that it still won't matter? That's the question. How far will they go? What will they pull? Because
I mean,
the election's out of range at this point.
It is. If Trump wins Virginia, he's going to have 325 electoral votes.
I mean, that's massive.
That's
crazy.
Massive.
Yeah. Alan Krentz says Michigan's unemployment went up last job numbers. Ace, can you say auto workers layoffs coming? Wow. Yeah, hopefully not. Vince says he likes you as a guest, even if you're terrible at fantasy football. So that's nice.
Vince, that's kind of an underhand. That's like a backdoor insult.
Yeah. Right.
And Vince, I will have you know, I am 2-4 this year, so doing pretty good.
You made playoffs last year, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the playoffs last year.
Big B with the $20 donation. Thank you, Big B. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I'll make sure that I take Eric out to a coffee or something, and for all of his hard work here. I'll take him out to a water while I drink coffee, and that's and he'll at least get the atmosphere of it all. Thomas Dubois is asking about DJT today. It was just a short attack, Thomas. I do not think it's going to be a problem for more than a day or two. I think it'll head back up as long as Trump is winning in this election, which it's looking good. Max Golden, this is a great question. I hear polls say Kamala's winning. I hear polls say Trump is winning. How do I know which polls to believe? Don't believe any of them, Max. Do not believe any of them. That is the best answer. But you can trust the trends. That is what you can trust, because they can only lie so much. Otherwise, if they get too egregious, they won't have a job. The media can lie, but they can only lie to a certain extent when everybody's watching them. And polling is one of those things where they all kind of hold each other check and balance. So if you have really good pollsters having Trump up by 2, and they're saying, no, Kamala's ahead by 16, what do it's like, really? We all talk, you have to keep it within the realm of believability. So you might have polls that are like Kamala +5. I think that's the biggest I've seen in recent weeks. Right now, those polls are trending up, though. They're tied now, or it's down to like Kamala +1, Kamala +2. So the polls themselves, you don't trust, but the trends always move in the same direction. They show you where everything's headed. And when Kamala first burst on the scene and they got the joy, the Democrat joy, that's when Kamala took her biggest lead, because the trend was that way. Not necessarily that more voters were voting for her, but more people were willing to pick up that phone and say, yeah, I'm voting for Kamala. Now it's reversed. And what's happening now is the closer we get to the election, people are settling into their and what you do is the closer it gets to election, the more trustworthy the polls become, and the trend's much more trustworthy. Vince, you like my Alex Jones impression? Thank you. Sliver says 5 votes for Trump here in California. I love it. Love it. That was my old hometown. So is Eric. Eric's from California too. We both escaped though. Big JR says the odds for House control have shifted dramatically as well. Senate already looks good. Yeah, I saw Senate is at 78%. He says if we can do a clean sweep, we'll get stuff done immediately. I think we will. I really do. Brett says, have you noticed the main booze hag Pelosi's been relatively quiet? Is she in rehab or under indictment? Well, I'll tell you exactly why she's quiet, Brett. They all
Check
hate
your
Kamala.
ankles.
Yeah, check her ankles. No, they all hate Kamala. They all can't stand her. They all know she's a loser. They dragged Bill Clinton's corpse out to go speak. And what did he do? He badmouthed her. He said the border's her fault. They brought Obama out, and Obama just looked like he was mad that they called his gay butt off vacation. And so he's yelling at all the black people about how dumb you are for voting for Trump. Get back in line. Like, these people are not happy to be campaigning for her. They felt like they had to do something. They don't want to come out. AOC, quiet. What's her face? Pelosi, quiet. Where's Pocahontas? Where's she? Where's Bernie? None of them are coming out for her. She is a total loser, and they know it. They're embarrassed to be seen with her, but they still need her to win. And that's what's going on, and it's pathetic. It really is.
I don't think that anyone wanted her.
No.
And I think
except Biden.
I think he did that to screw them because they were screwing him over.
I agree. And that's the story.
Because he obviously is not a big fan of her either.
Yes. 100%.
I think he was like, hey, everyone's going down with the ship. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think, well, the story is that the reason it took 4 days for Obama to endorse her is because he was pissed. He was livid. He thought, and he wanted them to set up a convention where they had like 4 or 5 going at it, and the winner came out. Battle to the death, winner comes out. That's what Obama wanted. And instead, Biden anointed Kamala. Everybody jumped behind her. And
they had to.
Yep. And it ruined his plans. And so
I wonder who he wanted.
That's a great question. Obviously not Michelle, because Michelle does not want to run. But I mean, it could have been a lot of people. It could have been Shapiro, Whitmer, Newsom. They had people, but
I feel like he would gravitate towards someone more on the fringe. Because
maybe it had to have been somebody popular, though. He is, but he would have had somebody they felt they could control, but somebody they also was charismatic. But that's to me, that's another sign they're losing, is that there is a Democratic civil war going on behind the scenes.
There's several different factions too.
Yes. Yeah. You got the Obamas, the Clintons, you got the Bidens. Those are the big three right now. The big 3 families. The families. They're like gangsters, they're all fighting with each other.
Kamala's like out on stage by herself and nobody's supporting her. And they're
Kamala
all like running
Walser.
away. Just like, hey, everyone come with me. And then all of a sudden she looks around and she's alone.
Yeah. You have the 3 families that hate each other. Like the 3 factions are like the mob families that hate each other, but they all still like have to show up at the family reunions, even though they hate each other. And Kamala and Walser
hate Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala and Walser are like the 7-year-olds running around playing, not knowing why they're all fighting. Just be like, yeah, I'll do it, Dad. That's
They're
Kamala
only united in that they think Kamala's stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Oh, Pelosi's too. Yeah, that would be the 4th one. She's one of the big players.
Still,
Kamala Cobbler. Oh yeah, Randy's right. Obama wanted Mark Kelly, Arizona. You're 100% right. That's right. Thank you, Hero. You guys reminded me. I forgot about him. That's right. That is exactly who they wanted, because he's well-spoken. He's a former astronaut, military, still looks like a man, which is very hard to find in the Democratic Party. And that, speaking of which, you're going to like this one, Eric. I like how MAGA strategy is just accuse every Democrat being a pedophile, and 75% of the time they're right.
Throw the darts.
I had to share that. It was just too good.
Most of them will hit.
Yeah, that one made me laugh. That's just too funny. Brett says Harris Winfrey running on the Books and Borders platform. Books and Borders. That interview with Oprah was so bad. Ken Jones says, "What's going on in people's heads thinking about voting for that lady that let all the border open and flood America with that BS? Please don't vote for her. Please vote for Trump." Hey man, Ken, this is a good place for you. We are all voting for Trump. Obama want P. Diddy to run. Are we sure?
Skeletons in the closet.
I was gonna say, are we not sure that P. Diddy wasn't the one running the whole organization?
He's got skeletons on his front lawn.
Yeah, I think it's probably a stronger argument to make that Diddy controls Obama than the other way around.
I would love to see I thought October Surprise was going to be P. Diddy stuff coming out, and I'm sure Kamala was involved with that, but I don't know if we're gonna do that.
Yeah, there was somebody pretty prominent said that they really believe the Diddy stuff with a false flag. Not that it's not real, but that the timing of it was to distract from other things. So I don't know. One way or the other, when it comes out, it's going to be awful for a lot of people. But
I feel like that's not something you use as a cover, though. That's like the main
I don't
thing.
know. I don't know.
You're going to cover to distract from that.
100%. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting just to say, because it is tough to say, like, and I hate to say it, but the October surprise also has, it's only really been a big deal in a couple of elections, but it has this big, like the marketing for October surprise is better than most actual October surprises. But it doesn't mean it won't happen. We've already had a couple. I mean, I don't know what's going on with this Tim Walz thing. Like I said, I'm not going to really cover it till it gets more validation and verification, but we have the plagiarization for Kamala. We had, oh man, there was something big that came out a week ago. News is moving so fast now, I'm forgetting about stuff. But things have been crazy. We had the hurricanes and the dock strike, but all that went away pretty quick. Not for the people involved in the hurricanes, of course, but as a news cycle. So maybe it's just going to be an accumulation of stuff. I do think it's interesting. They haven't tried to hit Trump or Vance with anything, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Shogun says the October surprise, Biden will endorse Trump the day before the election.
That would be fantastic.
Oh man, that would be so funny.
It would single-handedly sabotage the entire Democrat Party this election.
It would be so awesome. He just put on that MAGA hat and he's like, I got to tell you something. Vote for Trump. Kamal's like the black sheep. I mean, the Indian sheep of the family. Brett, man, you're on it tonight. I do want to watch Reagan. That looks good. A week ago was a CBS News edit of Kamal's answers. Oh, there you go. Yeah, the 60 Minutes. I don't know if old Jimmy's going to vote. I mean, this is what he looks like right now. So if he votes, he's definitely voting Democrat. I mean,
wow.
It says that this is like, it just.
Is that really him?
Yeah, that's really him.
I thought that was a joke. Dude, he's dead.
It says breaking. Jimmy Carter's made it to the first day of Georgia early voting. His family declared he'll vote for Harris. Yeah, he's voting.
He's not alive. That person is not alive.
Look at that. I mean, that's Jimmy Carter, guys.
That doesn't even look like him.
That's who the Democrats are pulling out to vote.
I think they're pulling him out of the grave.
God, that poor guy. Yeah, he does. He looks like he's been excavated.
I don't know if that's a living human being.
That's pretty awful. I can't. I can believe they do it. They're the Democrats. Pretty gross. Wicked says, my prediction: X-Truth will merger, build out the next media giant, closing out the old media guard. Now, Wicked, I hope you're right. That would be epic if Truth and X merge. I mean, that would be so awesome. Biden face on corn box. It just sits on corn pops. It's Biden's face and it says vote Trump. No, that would be a good October surprise. So, but anyways, guys, well, hey, we're going to have to take off because both of us work for a living and this is just for fun. But anyways, closing thoughts, Eric, where are you thinking where we're at?
I am so hopeful. I'm so confident. I'm going to be involved as much as I can. Obviously, I'm going to go vote like everyone should, but I don't see any way that this doesn't turn out well for us. I am very hopeful. I'm just kind of in a curious place to see how it all plays out, but I'm very confident of the result. And I think our country is going to be a lot better going forward.
I like how you said that. You're very hopeful and confident. I think that's a good place to be. I am in the same place. I feel like more and more good news is coming off. It really feels like we're winning. First of all, let's just start there. We are definitely winning. We have the momentum. We have the people. We have, in my opinion, the infrastructure of people watching, ready to call stuff out. Trump seems confident. So all that is good. All that's good. Again, to me, the only thing I'm really worried about is how much collateral damage do they do in trying to stop Trump from getting in when he's going to end up in. That's how I look at it. So, but all right, guys. Well, that's it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, and Eric will be back more often. He's going to be joining me more often so that you guys get another voice on here and not just hear me ramble all the time. But yeah, so tomorrow night I'll be on, and we'll see. Maybe Eric will be back tomorrow. We'll see. But am I going to live stream the Fox interview tomorrow? That's a great question, Candace. Probably not, but I will dissect it afterwards. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a big enough deal for me to move around my whole schedule for it. So but we'll see. I might change my mind depending on how things look. But anyways, all right, Eric, you know how it ends here. Let's end on a prayer. I'll close out on a prayer and then we'll head off. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God, thank you for all the momentum that we're seeing. Thank you, God, that it's clear you're doing a great work in this country with good people. And I just pray that it's all seen through. We pray against anything that could harm people, anything that is trying to steal from us and our nation. We pray protection over Trump and everybody with him. And just pray for no violence to break out anywhere, and just pray for this audience that you would bless them. Thank you for them, Lord. And yeah, especially pray for healing for Thomas, Jenny, and others who need it. So we love you and thank you. Bless everybody again in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, bro. I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. Love you. Have a great night.
All right.